In Berserk, everybody's always factuated on how terrible of a person Griffith is, which they're right. They're 100% correct. But I think they overlook one character that was at the start of Berserk, and I think he's truly more wicked than Griffith was. Weil is the most disturbing and vile antagonist in Berserk. Exemplifying the series' dark and grim tone, he stands out not just for his physical appearance and actions, but also for his twisted psychology that drives him, making him a wicked character. See, Weil is introduced as the leader of the band Black Dog Knights, a band of ruthless criminals and outcasts employed by the kingdom of the Midland for their dirty work. His appearance is quite grotesque. The first time we even see Weil is him basically, yeah. I don't even know how I can even show that. It's literally just gonna look like a massive blurring scene. Just he was basically having a what's the word I can use? Georgie. Yeah, let's just go with Georgie. He was massive, like muscular figure, far larger than the normal human, with a wild and unkempt hair, sharp teeth, and a savage, animalistic face. His body was covered in scars, and he often wore armor that seems barely able to contain his enormous frame, and his eyes were always filled with this crazed look, filled with violence that perfectly captured his sadistic nature. When he revealed his true form from an apostle, he became even more horrifying. Like Wild's transformation into a giant, grotesque creature with exaggerated muscular fur and face that is more beast than man. His apostle form is a testament to the corruption that plagued the world of Berserk, with his monstrous appearance being a direct manifestation of his depravity. Other than his appearance and how he looks, what makes him so wicked is his actions and what he did in Berserk. For you to be number one in the manga that's Berserk, you have to be a new level of cook. Wild is the embodiment of chaos and cruelty. He delights in suffering and is completely devoid of empathy. As the leader of the Black Dog Knights, he leads his men in heinous acts of violence and torture and pillaging, enough for him to literally be buried under 17 prisons for a war crime or the electric chair. The Black Dog Knights themselves are a reflection of Wild. His influence, a whole group of vicious criminals who were influenced by this beast-like man. And the sad thing is, these guys literally only follow him out of fear and shared depravity. I think one of Wild's most infamous actions is his ruthless pursuit of the Band of the Hawk. Tasked with the group, Wild sees this mission not as a duty, but as an opportunity to indulge in his sadistic desires. He leads his men in a brutal attack on the Band of the Hawk, displaying his strength and cruelty by effortlessly slaughtering those who stood in his way. His actions are not driven by a sense of duty or honor, but by a pure, unadulterated desire to cause pain and destruction. Before Wild even got into it with the Band of the Hawk, he went into a village, killed everyone, killed the men and the children, and went on to the women. His only task was to kill the Band of the Hawk. This guy is just cutthroat evil and a terrible person. Yeah, if you think that's bad, unfortunately, it gets worse. Wild gets into it with Guts, and he basically beats the brakes off of Guts. But what's so bad about this is the act that comes when he captures Casca, the only female member of the Band of the Hawk. Oh boy. He almost took great pleasure in humiliating and torturing her, threatening to her in the most brutal way imaginable. This moment alone is one of the most intense scenes in the manga, highlighting the sheer evil that Wild embodies. His treatment of Casca is not just an act of physical violence, but also psychological torment as he reveled in her fear and suffering. Yeah, this guy's just horrible. God, man, this guy, there's literally nothing redeeming about him. At least like people that are borderline crazy will sit there and try to say something good about Griffith, but there's nothing good about Wild at all. The more I sat back and reread Berserk, I wanted to figure out like why was Wild the way he was, because with other characters they had some type of backstory, but then I came to a conclusion that he's just a pure sadist. He literally derives pleasure from the pain and suffering of others, and his actions are motivated solely by his desire to inflict harm, unlike other antagonists in Berserk who have complex motivations or tragic backstories. Wild is literally just driven by a primal, almost animalistic urge to dominate and destroy. This makes him even more frightening, as there's really no reasoning or negotiate with someone like him. He is literally like a force of nature, a representation of the darkest aspects of human and inhuman nature. Wild's wickedness is further emphasized by his transformation into an apostle, a being that has fully embraced the darkness within. His apostle form is a physical manifestation of his inner evil, and it grants him immense power. However, even in this form, his desires remain the same: violence, destruction, and the domination of the weak. Wild is a wicked antagonist because he embodies the purest form of evil in Berserk. His appearance is monstrous, his actions are horrific, and his psychology is deeply twisted. Unlike some villains who may have redeeming qualities or understandable motivations, Wild is a character who represents the worst of humanity and beyond. His cruelty is boundless, and his pleasure in causing suffering to other people makes him truly terrifying. In the grand narrative of Berserk, Wild serves as a reminder of darkness that pervades the world, and his presence underscores the brutality that Guts had to face, as his actions and behavior leave a lasting impact on me, you, everyone that had to witness that in Berserk, marking him as one of the most wicked antagonists in the series. And I think the way he went out was perfect. He went out from Guts basically taking him out with a massive headlock and daggers all through his head, to Wild getting absolutely folded by Zod. Zod absolutely folded him, and it showed Wild at the end in his human form, and I think it's so perfect and it fits him so well. A big brute monster that was literally destroying and causing harm in the most worst and wicked way possible was nothing but a frail, weak old man. He was basically the opposite of what he actually was. But yeah, I just thought that Wild was someone that doesn't really get talked about, and I see why, because there's not nothing really redeeming about him, but I thought it'd be cool that I would say something about him. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.